Well, good afternoon. I'm from the University of York. York is a research-intensive university which teaches a relatively traditional mix of academic subjects. So that means the majority of our students aren't actually suited for any jobs, which is what traditionally academic means. So when we came to look at embedding enterprise, we had to work with the culture of the existing university, and I think we were assisted to an extent by the fact that we had no business school at York. We do now have a management school, a very good one, but at the time, having no business school meant that we had to look to enterprise within the curriculum itself of the traditional subjects. We couldn't service teach it in a business school model, and I think that actually helped us a lot to get started. The first place to start for us was in the science and technology subjects, because there are immediate links to the outside world, particularly in subjects like chemistry, where you actually have a chemistry industry, which some of our academics work with on a daily basis. So it was relatively straightforward, if you like, to find academics who could make that initial bridge into looking at how, not just whether a technical process would work, but actually whether it would be commercially viable or not. And there are now modules which exist in chemistry and green chemistry, and also in our bioscience areas, which look at developing not only scientifically viable solutions, but commercially viable solutions as well. And that's often quite an interesting stage for our students to take, because they're used to dealing with right and wrong answers. And business throws in an element of ambiguity that a lot of our scientists find quite challenging. But I think very, very necessary to get to grips with. In the electronics and the sort of computer science area, again, you have an industry, and in some ways a much more fast-moving, much more challenging industry to get to grips with. And what we've done there is look at how computer scientists and electronics students, again, can develop technically viable solutions with commercial application. So who is going to buy, as well as does it work, is one of the interesting questions that we can pose to them. York is a city that floods a lot, and this was a good start point for our module in the environment department, where a lot of our students are studying hydrological studies, and we could look at how, though it is technically possible to build flood defences, every defence has a cost. And those costs are commercial, certainly, but they're also political. So we based a module around an idea of the city in 2020. Which bits of the city would you defend? Would you defend the tourist heartland of the city? Would you defend the housing estates where the voters live? Or would you defend the industrial sections? And we get the students to work as teams, as contractor teams, and they pull together proposals for the City Council to bid to build flood defences. And so, again, there are technical solutions and there are commercially viable solutions, and their job is to combine the two. Arts and humanities and social sciences was slightly more of a challenge to start to embed enterprise. And as you can imagine, it was much more difficult potentially to find academics who could extend their thinking around the subject into how it might become more entrepreneurial. We were helped, I think, in the social sciences a lot by the rise of the social enterprise, which is a new way of delivering social benefits. And social policy in particular has taken this on board and actually has developed a lively research agenda around it as well, which really does help embed it. But we've got quite a major project now where our students work with charities in the city who are looking to become more entrepreneurial, more like social enterprises, with business mentors. And the business mentors provide technical expertise in marketing or finance through the students directly to the charities, so that the students are acting, if you like, as consultants, as consultancy teams. With English literature, we started off relatively academically by looking at the role of author as entrepreneur, and the idea that Dickens wrote his novels in monthly instalments, and that, if you know that, it changes the way you read the book, because clearly, you know, every month you're going to get a cliffhanger to bring you back, and so actually, you can actually see how that impacts on the literature. But it also develops up to the idea of when does literature become mass culture? When does it become a marketable commodity? And the module deals with that. It starts off looking at the relatively academic routes, but moves much more into the idea of mass culture, of marketing mass culture, of the publishing and television industry. History, we have looked, again, you know, we've been helped by the rise of history as a commodity, history as a product. It's on the television, it's visitor attractions, and our students are genuinely interested in this agenda, and we set them the challenge every year of coming up with a sustainable, i.e. it's not got to rely on anybody else's money, a sustainable concept which will enhance the public understanding of the past. And previous examples have ranged from simple things like walking tours through to quite advanced ones where we projected old images of a building onto the new building. So you can actually walk down a historical street in real time. And we've been able to find businesses that were really quite happy to sponsor that if their logo happens to appear amongst the projection slides at the same time. So what we found with this process, and it's by no means complete, we're about 75% of our departments now have enterprise within the curriculum. What we found is that it's a slow process because you need to find entrepreneurial champions in each of those departments. It's a slow process, but it's one where success feeds on itself. So if academics can see somebody's career, somebody's teaching results going up as a result of getting involved in enterprise, it helps to attract more to the game. Thank you very much.